Students, I am Ripa and welcome to today's English class. I hope you are all well set to go for the class. Would you like to listen to a story? I think your answer is a big yes. I also love to listen to stories. But another thing, would you like to be a storyteller? Oh, yeah. Some of you are telling me yes, I can hear you. Yes. Some of us are very good storytellers. Among you, among us, among the people surrounding us, many people are very good at storytellers. So today we are going to read about one such person who is a very good in telling stories, and the person's name is Ishwaran. So the name of the chapter is Ishwaran the storyteller. Let me write on the blackboard. Ishwaran the storyteller. It is from your book Moments. This story has been written by R.K. Lakshman. Now let us have a glimpse of the author R.K. Lakshman. R.K. Lakshman, he is best known his creation of daily cartoon strip You Said It in the Times of India, which started in 1951. His full name is Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Lakshman. He is born in October 24, 1921, Mysore. He also received the Padma Shri and Sahitya Academy Award and many more awards. So, going back to our story, Ishwaran the storyteller. See, the story goes like this. A young man, Ganesh, is narrated a story by another young man called Mahendra. Now Mahendra, he used to work in a factory as a supervisor. See, you can see here in the picture one man. Okay. So Mahendra was working as a supervisor in a factory, and he used to do all kind of supervising duty, asking the people. He used to look who is doing what kind of work. He worked in railways construction, he worked in construction area, he worked for dams, even he worked in chemical plants also. So in this way his life went on. He was a bachelor and his duty was completely to move from one place to another. A very tough life, but a very challenging. But Mahendra was a very energetic man, so he did his work very nicely. Mahendra had a very hard life, in one way you can say. He stayed in houses which were ill-equipped. Now, one word you will get in your book, ill-equipped. Ill-E-Q-U-I-P-P-E-D. Without any facility. So, without any facility he used to stay, and he was staying in a stone quarry, area. Sometimes in there also he used to stay, sometimes in tents. So many challenges he had in his life. The only asset, do you know what is an asset? A-S-S-E-T, that means advantage. See, this word asset, advantage is very important for this chapter. Why? We shall come to know now. The only advantage which Ishwaran had in his life was his helper, or you can say his cook, or you can say his companion. His name was Ishwaran. Okay, his name was Ishwaran as the story goes by. So Ishwaran traveled to Mahendra wherever Mahendra went. Okay, he would cook. He was a very good in cooking, and he used to work hard for Mahendra. He would wash the clothes for Mahendra, wash the utensils, take care of Mahendra without any complaints. Mahendra had a traveling job, so whatever job Mahendra did, wherever he went, Ishwaran would also travel with him. Okay. So what happened? Every day morning, Mahendra used to go out to his supervision duty. After having the breakfast, he used to take his lunch box and then he used to go for his duty. So after, once he went out for his work, what does Mahendra do? You can see what Mahendra did, he will cook food, wash clothes for Mahendra and then take bath leisurely. That leisurely means many buckets of water he will pour over himself, and then he will take his lunch. Soon after taking lunch, Ishwaran was very fond of reading books, especially thrillers. He loved reading Tamil thrillers. In fact, he was so much involved in reading thrillers that he mixed up his own stories with the Tamil thrillers and he presented those stories to people. So in the evening when Mahendra came home back, he would cook food for him and chat with him, Mahendra, for hours, telling him stories. Mahendra was very fond of listening stories. He loved to hear Ishwaran's story. So Mahendra listened to him everyday stories, and Mahendra told that in the story, Ishwaran was so good at telling stories that even the smallest incident also he will present it in a very thrilling way. So you might be wanting to know what is the meaning of thrillers. As I told you, Ishwaran used to read thrillers. It means THRILLERS. It means exciting novels. So even the smallest thing would be presented by Ishwaran in a very thrilling way. Like supposing he was going through a road and he saw a big tree, how he would say, I was traveling and suddenly I saw a big bushy plant lying on the street. In this way I was alone, I went near it and what did I see? It was a big uprooted tree and the branches were spread out. So even for explaining a uprooted tree also, he will use some sort of thrilling, some sort of facial gesture, gesture. So he would use his gesture. Gesture means facial expression. Okay, gesture means facial expression. He would use all the expression to make the story exciting. In this way, Ishwaran used to tell the story. Now what happened? In one such incident, one day, again when Mahendra came from the office from his query tired, he started telling the story of tuskers or elephants, you can say. What way? Ishwaran narrated to Mahendra that he came from an area, that means the native place to which Ishwaran belonged was an area where there was a big forest around his village. A lot of trees were there. Okay. So lot of timber used to be cut down and those timbers were hauled. Hauled, do you know? Let me write it on the blackboard for you. Hauled. H-A-U-L-E-D, hauled. It means transported. The timbers were transported to the lorries or the trucks with the help of elephants. Ishwaran was, while narrating the story, told Mahendra that though these elephants carried or hauled the big timber trees to the trucks, sometimes they used to get out of control. Sometimes after all it is also animal, sometimes if they get out of control, even the most expert mahot, do you know? A person who controls the elephant. Even the most expert mahot also cannot control an elephant. So in such one incident, what happened one day, an elephant got mad or you can say got wild, not mad exactly, wild, and it went out of the Mahout's control. And what it did, it thrashed, mashed many of the branches and trees in the forest, tore down the creepers, and angrily with full force went hither and thither, and finally it came out of the forest. After it came out of the forest, it reached the outskirts of the town area where, or the area, residential area where Ishwaran was staying. I can write here outskirt, okay, outskirt, outer area of the town, outer area of the town, and it started breaking down the shops, the stalls, the toy shops, whatever shops were there, it started trashing. Okay. Now, as it was trashing the shops, you see, this angry elephant you can see here, as it got very angry, nobody had the courage, or nobody even didn't know, because it is not a small animal, it is a very big, huge, enormous animal. So nobody had the courage to go and stop it, and they didn't know how to stop it also. So people were running with their own life. They wanted to protect themselves, so they were running hither and thither. Nobody wanted to go near to it. So the elephant went, and suddenly what happened? The elephant broke the wall of a school, and it entered the school campus. Fortunately or unfortunately, not fortunately of course, unfortunately, Ishwaran was also a student of that school. He was in a junior class. And what happened? All the children, they were in panic, you know, panic, sudden fear. Panic means sudden fear. They were in panic, and all the children, students you can say, they entered the classroom. The teachers also didn't know what to do, because it was not an ordinary thing, ordinary animal. It was a huge, wild, gone wild elephant, angry elephant. So they didn't know what to do. They also climbed the roof, and some of them carried a cane also. Generally, many of the teachers, they carry cane. So, carried a cane. Ishwaran was also there, but he was on the roof of the school building. He also see, as the teacher watched them helplessly at the elephant, they watched the elephant. It pulled the goal post, football ground goal post, it just pulled it out, uprooted it, brought it out. Then what did it do next? It tore down the volleyball net. There was drinking water, one big drinking water container was there. It broke it down. It pulled up the shrubs, you know, shrubs, small grasses, shrubs. It pulled down the grasses and mud, and everybody was splitting here and there. Everybody was frightened. So people were also watching from around. Nobody had the courage to go near it. Suddenly something came to Ishwaran's mind. And Mahendra was hearing this story with full concentration, without any interruption. Okay, Ishwaran was narrating his story, and Mahendra was listening with full concentration. So, what Ishwaran did is that he suddenly took one of the cane from his teacher's hand, and he ran down through the stairs down, and he directly approached started approaching the elephant. Now, my God, you can imagine what is the situation. Everybody was stunned, speechless. Nobody knew what to do, and nobody was there to stop Ishwaran. Even nothing, everybody was stunned there. They just didn't know what to do. And what he did, he took this cane, and at that time the elephant also saw Ishwaran approaching. Okay, this wild elephant. They saw Ishwaran approaching. So what did the elephant do? The elephant picked up with the help of its trunk one big trunk, log of wood, you can say, tree, and it wanted to smash Ishwaran. But Ishwaran very cleverly and bravely, of course, went near the elephant and with the cane hacked, on the foot, toenail of the elephant. Now what happened? All of a sudden, the elephant stood there unconsciously, and it collapsed on the ground within a few seconds with that thrashing. After saying the story up to this point, Ishwaran told Mahendra, okay Mahendra, let me warm up our food, it is getting late. So he went to the kitchen. Mahendra stood there to hear the story. He was still there sitting. He was now excited, he was thrilled, he wanted to know what had happened. Okay. So Ishwaran went to the kitchen and then he came back, very much normal. And then Mahendra had to remind him, and then Ishwaran, what happened? What happened to the elephant? Oh, that elephant, it had to be brought back. We had to summon, the veterinary doctor was summoned. The veterinary doctor came, and the veterinary doctor, what did the veterinary doctor do? It brought the elephant to senses, and later on, after 2 days, the mahout took the elephant back to the forest from where the elephant came. So, still one question remained in Mahendra's mind. How did such a big elephant get senseless, unconscious with the whacking, whacking, W-H-A-C-K, whack, you can say. Whacking means strongly bitten. With the whacking of a cane. Now Ishwaran was very proud. He said that, no, it is an art. It is a Japanese art. It is known as karate or jiu-jitsu, you can say. So I know that art. With that art, what does that art do? When you whack somebody, his nervous system breaks down for some hours, for some time, and the body falls unconscious. This is how I did. So he said with such confidence, Mahendra listened to him uncritically, without any criticism. Okay. So up to here, we know so many Ishwaran story. He has presented his story such a nice way that it is almost believable. But as we come to the story, it is up to us whether we should believe a story or not. But the way he presented, his presentation was very good. So it almost made the story real to Mahendra. So in this way, one day what happened, days passed by. Every day Mahendra would come back from the office, and every night Ishwaran would tell him different type of stories, exciting stories, and Mahendra would be longing to hear his stories. So every day he would chat. One day, while Mahendra was going to his site for construction site in the morning, just before going out to the construction site, Ishwaran made a request. Ishwaran made a request to him, can I cook something special tonight? Can I cook something? Yes, what is the reason? Yes, what is the reason? I want to make some offerings to the ancestors. I want to make some offerings to the ancestors because today is a special day, and on this day we offer special offerings to our ancestors. Mahendra agreed, okay, if you are presenting in that way, I don't mind. Okay, I don't mind if you present. So that night Mahendra cooked the most delicious dish. In fact, Mahendra praised Ishwaran's culinary art. Do you know what is culinary art? Okay, let me write it for you. Culinary. That means cooking art. That means cooking art. So, Ishwaran was an excellent cook. He could cook very nicely. Culinary art means exceptional cooking. So, he was praised by Mahendra. Ishwaran was very happy. But all of a sudden, what did he do? He started telling Mahendra that night, after grinning, some odd stories. Okay, some very odd stories. Mahendra didn't like the stories of spirits and ancestors. Suddenly he started saying, do you know, Mahendra, this area where we are staying, where you and me we are staying, this area was originally a burial ground. Now what is that burial ground? Okay. Now burial ground is where dead bodies are cremated. Okay. Dead bodies are cremated, or you can say people when they die, they are buried in that place. That place is called burial ground. Now Mahendra said, who told you? That is not true. He said, no, I know. I know from the very first day. Because when we came on the first day, I saw a human skull also. And not only that, after the first day also, many days I have seen many skulls of many people, maybe perhaps. Even I saw bones also. Now that was very shocking. In fact, Mahendra did not like listening to such kind of stories. But Ishwaran continued, you know, Mahendra, I saw even ghosts also. But I am not afraid of any ghost. So many days I saw so many ghosts. I am not afraid of any ghost. But one ghost I am afraid, you can say, of it, is a female ghost. She is having matted hair. You know what is matted hair? Matted I can write here. Matted hair, that means dry hair, and she carries a dead fetus in her arms. She carries a fetus in one of her arms. Now what is fetus? Unborn baby, a baby which has not yet been born. She carries that fetus in her hand. Now this depiction of Ishwaran was not liked by Mahendra. Ishwaran continued saying, he said, and you know, when this female ghost appears, she appears every now and then during midnight and especially on a full moon night. After listening up to this much, Mahendra said, what is this? This is not true. I don't believe in this sort of stories. You better get your digestive system checked, Mahendra. You better get your digestive system checked, and of course your head also. I don't believe in ghosts and spirit. There is no such thing. Saying this one, Mahendra went to sleep. So that night, Mahendra went to sleep. Every night he used to keep his window open, but that night he slept feeling little uneasy, uncomfortable. Why? Because of the ghost story or spiritual story which Mahendra had narrated to him. After some time, he went to deep sleep, and next morning when Mahendra woke up, Mahendra thought that what will happen? He thought that, see, I am trying to show you the picture of you can guess the picture is the picture of a female ghost. So next morning when Mahendra woke up, he thought definitely Ishwaran would be angry. But to his surprise, Ishwaran was not angry. Rather he was smiling and grinning also, showing teeth, you know. So when Mahendra went to his office, days passed on. But from that day onwards, every night, Mahendra went to his bed uncomfortably. He loved watching through the window, especially when it is a full moon night. But from that day onwards, he didn't watch out through the window. perhaps the haunting story which Ishwaran had told him was had somehow created a fear in his mind. Though he didn't want to accept it, but somewhere in his mind it had created a fear. As a result, from that day onwards he stopped looking out through the window. Now what happened? One day Mahendra was sleeping, and after some time, as he was in deep sleep, suddenly he awoke from his sleep. Why? Because he heard some moaning sound. Moaning. Let me write it for you. M-O-A-N-I-N-G. Now what is moaning sound? It is suffering. Physically, or emotionally, you can say. Emotionally, it is a sound. Okay, this is a moaning sound. Sound okay, suffering physically or emotionally. That sound is called moaning. He heard a moaning sound. So in the beginning he thought maybe this sound is that of a cat. Maybe a cat is moaning outside. But as the time passed, the sound was increasing. Ishwaran was not there. It was midnight, so Mahendra was alone in his room. He wanted to see what was there. Was there any cat outside his window sill? But then he resisted because of the previous story. And that night was a full moon night also. So he preferred not to see. But as the sound was increasing, he couldn't stop himself from temptation, and suddenly, not suddenly, you can say, he decided to watch out through the window. And on the window sill, he just peeped out, and to his aspiration, what did he see? A structure, female structure like thing was there, and it was holding a bundle of sticks. And Ishwaran was, as Ishwaran had depicted a female, it was somehow matching with that structure. So Mahendra recalled that incident, and he felt he had seen a ghost or perhaps a spirit. He starts sweating. Within a second he starts sweating, and he starts panting, breathing. What is panting? Breathing heavily, and he fell down on his pillow. He clutched his pillow and he slept, and he didn't move at all. Next morning when he woke up, he thought perhaps it was a nightmare, or perhaps that incident had gone away. He didn't say anything to Ishwaran. Like any other day, he got ready for his construction, to visit his construction work. And as he was about to go to his construction work, Ishwaran told him, "Sir, I told you the story few days back about the female ghost. You didn't believe me that day, but I think last night you saw it yourself." Mahendra was a bit surprised. He wanted, though he didn't ask, he wanted to know how did Ishwaran know. Then Ishwaran said, "No, I too heard the moaning sound. I came, rushed to your room, and I saw that you had seen that female ghost yourself." At that time, a chill, you know, cool, very cold sensation, chill, a cool sensation, a chill went down the spine. Spine means spinal cord of Mahendra. Chill, cool, or you can say cold. Cold sensation of fear went down the spine of Mahendra, and that moment itself he decided not to stay in such kind of haunted place. So he decided to leave his job or leave that place and go to somewhere else. He took off his papers and went to his head office to deposit all those papers and to say goodbye to the story, to the place, to the haunting place. So, my dear students, I hope you have understood the story. This story tells us that storytelling is an art, but that art should not be such that it can cause nervous breakdown of a person. The way Ishwaran told the story and the way he added effects, special effects, facial gestures, some sound, that may make a person get sick, or even a person may get a heart attack. Mahendra that night could have died also. Okay. So, storytelling is an art, it is good, but limitations should be there, and especially if we can make our stories, while framing our stories, if we can make it lively, it is okay, but it should not be related with such kind of horror story which makes us believe and which risks our life also. But one thing we have to remember, that the story tells us, as the title says, Ishwaran the storyteller, he deserves an appreciation. Cooking, we know, Mahendra appreciated, but for telling the stories as a reader, I would like that all of us, we should appreciate his art of telling the stories. So, this is all for today. I hope you understand the story very well as you go through the things. So, we can sum up once more that Ishwaran was a very good in cooking. He used to read lot of Tamil thrillers, and he was a very good storyteller. He used to combine his own stories with the thrilling stories and present it in such a way that often people thought that these were true stories. He told Mahendra stories about a tusker, that a tusker escaped and how he whacked the tusker on the footnail, and later on the tusker fell down unconscious. And this he did by the art of jiu-jitsu or karate. He told Mahendra that he had seen ghosts and he was not afraid of ghosts, but he created the situation, such a situation which ultimately at the end of the story, Mahendra too accepted the fact, yes, the place where they were staying was a haunted place, and he decided to quit the place and his job too. So, with this we come to the end of today's class. Thank you. Have a nice day.